It's a sefer minchas Shosham Psochim to the koilel. You have one here? No, I don't need one. I'm curious. So on Tov Mem Hey, the very first sif in Shulchan Aruch, Ketzad Biur Chametz. Sarfoi, oy paralali v'zer ruach, oy zor kol yam. And this is a machlokes tanuim whether ein Biur Chametz reifa or hashbesosoi b'chol davar. Beresh perik beisha mesechet psochim. The Minchas Chinuch and Mitzvah Tes has a very well-known chakira, and his question is, how do we define the mitzvah of Tashbisu Sa'oyim Mebeteichem, the mitzvah of Seifes Chametz? Is it a mitzvah Bekum V'asei, or a mitzvah B'shev Al Ta'isa? Is the mitzvah to destroy Chametz, either by burning or in any other way? Or the mitzvah is not to have chametz. And the Minchas Chinuch gives two nafkaminis between the two different interpretations of tashbisu. If the mitzvah is to destroy chametz, the person doesn't have any chametz out of Pesach, he would have a mitzvah to buy chametz to be mekayim the mitzvah of tashbisu. So even the Minchas Chinuch will agree, if he didn't have any chumetz before Pesach, and neither did he buy chumetz, he's not a mevatel mitzvah say, but he's losing out. He isn't mekayim the mitzvah. However, if the mitzvah is the result, and not to have chumetz, then he actually is mekayim the mitzvah of tashbisu so'or mebetechen by the mere fact that he doesn't have chumetz. Second afkam would be, if a person does have chumetz, and somebody else comes and burns his chametz, does he have to pass Solar Zehuvim? Because in Perek Kisui Adam, in Masechet Chulin Daf Pei Zayin, there's a lengthy sugya about a choytev mitzvah, and a choytev mitzvah needs to pay a Solar Zehuvim. So the Minchas Chinuch once again says, if the mitzvah is not to have chametz, then he is mekayim his mitzvah, even if another person was the one that destroyed his chametz. But if the mitzvah is to burn your chametz or destroy your chametz in any other way, then if he burnt my chametz, he has to compensate me and pay me a Solar Zehuvim. That is the Minchas Chinuch. And many later Achronim say that the Minchas Chinuch betzim was mechaven ledivrei haramban. So the Minchas Chinuch says that maybe this is a machlokes Rashi and Tosfos, because Rashi Daf Daled Amud Beis, when the Gemara says Midiuraisa bebitul ba'al mesagya, there's a machlokes Rashi and Tosfos. What is the essence of bittul chametz? Rashi says bittul chametz is tashbisu, and that is also in the Rambam, Perik Beis Berachos Chametz Matzah, and they base their understanding on the Unkelos that says, the Targums that says tashbisu tevatlun. So Rashi and the Rambam feel that bittul chametz is a way to be mekayim the mitzvah of tashbisu, and Tosfos says that is impossible because tashbisu is misheshus velamala. Ach biyoyim arishin tashbisu so'oyim beteichem, and ach means chotzi hayoyim erev Pesach. So Tosfos argues tashbisu was only in the afternoon, misheshus velamala. And the Gemara Davov says that la'achar zamani surah one cannot be mevatel at all. So how could you say bittul tashbisu? So the Minchas Chinuch suggests, Rashi says that a person is mekayim tashbisu when he doesn't have chametz. According to Rashi, a person is mekayim tashbisu by the fact that he doesn't have chametz. According to Tosfos, one needs to burn chametz. So Tosfos says that the mitzvah of tashbisu is misheshus and amala, so it cannot include bittul chametz. But according to Rashi, the mitzvah is not the etzem bitul, neither the etzem sleifa, but rather the result. So a person has to be mevatel lifnei zman esuroi, and in that way he is mekayim tashbisu la'achar zman esuroi. So according to Rashi, tashbisu would be sheval taisa. According to Tosfos, tashbisu would be kum v'asei, and that is why Tosfos argues tashbisu is a mitzvah b'kum v'aseh, and if bittul is tashbisu, then the mitzvah must be performed la'achas manasiroi, and one cannot do bittul la'achas manasiroi. So the understanding of the Minchas Chinuch in Rashi is, according to Rashi, tashbisu is shel taisa. It is not the actual maisa, either sleifa, or poiroi, or bittul. These are only ma'ain machshira mitzvah, but a person is makayim the mitzvah after he does whatever needs to be done to bring about the reality, the metzias, that he has no chametz in his possession on Pesach. And the Ramban actually is miyashiv shittas Rashi in a similar way, and the Ramban says, according to Rashi, a person does tashbisu before his manasiroi in order to see to it that he has no chametz liachas manisuroi. So many later Achronim say that the Minchas Chinuch was machavan at divrei Haramban. And in my opinion, the Minchas Chinuch wasn't machavan at divrei Haramban for a very, very simple reason. Called divrei Haramban Yeshorim, and I think this Minchas Chinuch is not so Yoshor. So before we going into an explanation, what does the Ramban say? And why is it different than what the Minchas Chinuch says? I object because we assume that divrei Haramban b'chol makom shehem and Yeshorim b'tachlis, and I don't really understand the Minchas Chinuch, as I will shortly explain. But before coming back to the basic chakir of the Minchas Chinuch, I want to bring two additional sources megadol achronim that also cause some confusion because they seem to be saying similar to the Minchas Chinuch. But the way I will explain, the Minchas Chinuch is on one side and all the others on the other side, and ein divreim mechavonim zeh lezeh. Very well known Reb Chaim Brisker in the beginning of Hilchos Chametz Matzah, Reb Chaim al Rambam. So Tosfos says, according to the Mandomer ein bi'achometz el sleifa, afroi mutar. According to the view that says hashbesosa, according to the Chumash that says hashbesosa b'kol davar, then afroi osur, based on the Mishnayos at the very end of Masechet Temura. Kol hanosof and afro mutar, kol hanigiborim, afro osur. So if we say ein bi'achometz el sleifa, then eifa chometz would be mutar. If hashbesosa b'kol davar, eifa chometz would be osur. That is the Tosfos. And Rabbi Akiva Eiger wonders, and he asks. Tosfos explains at the end of Masechet Temura why hanosof and afro mutar and hanigiborim afro osur. Ein lachot davar shenases mitzvosoi umoyalin boy. And therefore, if the Torah gives a mitzvah of sreifa, it goes without saying that if a person performed his mitzvah, then the Issa Anua can't be in place, can't be intact, because Ein lachot davar shenases mitzvosoi umoyalin boy. Kol hanigiborim is only a derabanan. There is no mitzvah of kvurim in a Torah. All the Issa Anua hanigiborim is only mechashash shemo yekoshel, shem yavor demichshol. And therefore, Kol hanigiborim, there is no mitzvah diuraisa to destroy. It's only an issa derabanan that a person shouldn't be nichshal, and therefore it's not shaykh to say Ein lachot davar shenases mitzvosoi umoyalin boy, because it's not mitzvosoi. So Rabbi Akiva Eiger wonders, and the same kasha is in Mishnayos, very well-known Mishnayos, Ayin Aleph Pirushim, and there is Tosfos Chadoshim on Mishnayos. It's a leket of Chedusha Torah from various Gedolim, and this same kasha is quoted in the name of the Kedushas Levi. Did you ever hear of the Kedushas Levi? Yeah? The Levi Yitzchak of Barditchev obviously was a big Lamdan, and not only a big Rebbe. So this very same kasha is born in the name of the Barditchever, and he was a predecessor of Rabbi Akiva Eiger, probably about 50 or 60 or 70 years older than Rabbi Akiva Eiger, and they both have the same comment. Kol hanigiborim afron osur, because there is no mitzvah of kura. But everybody agrees that by mitzvah there's a mitzvah sasei diuraisa by chometz of tashbisu. The question is just about the methodology. So by chometz b'Pesach, we should say, regardless of how we destroy the chometz, whether it's leifa or mefararoi v'zoy leruach, it is a mitzvah sasei diuraisa. So why wouldn't we say ein lachot davar shenases mitzvosoi umoyalin boy? That's the kasha of Rabbi Akiva Eiger and others. Says Reb Chaim Brisker, there's a fundamental difference in the essence of the mitzvah tashbisu whether it's sleifa or hashbasosoi b'chol dover. If the mitzvah is sleifa, then the mitzvah is be'etzem slefes hachametz. That is a mitzvah. But if it's hashbasosoi b'chol dover, then it's all about not having chametz. And therefore, yes, we say, but that is only with the big, bold letters, mitzvosoi. Only if the mitzvah is in the etzem chefza, not in the gavra. So if the mere fact that Torah is makbid, and one form of hashbosa proves that it's about the chefza. Chametz must be burned. And therefore we could say it is similar to Koran Esrofin, and therefore Aforei Osur. But if it's just about not having chametz. And if it's about the gavra, not having chametz, then it's not shaykh to say I want to strengthen the point that Reb Chaim makes. Is a din in kodshim. Basically it's a din in kodshim. And that is why after Haktorah, Efer HaKarbona says, Mutar, Mishum she'en l'chodov v'shenasa mitzvosa me'yalam boi. So, the Svara of Toises, that the same rule applies to Koran Esrofen, is Likisha Atzmar Gevaldige Chiddush. Huge Chiddush. Because if not for Toises, we would say, Kodshim are only also Bahanoah because they have a mitzvah. And therefore, after you perform the mitzvah, there's no reason they should be also Bahanoah. The only reason Kodshim is also Bahanoah because they are designated L'Shem Gevaya. That is why, that's the concept of Milah. Why is the Kodshim also Bahanoah? Because they're Miyuchad LeMitzvosan. And therefore it's a push of the Sfola. Because the reason of the Issa Noah is only until you perform the mitzvah. By Yisur Noah is the other way around. Chiev Sleifa is because it's also Bahanoah. It's not also Bahanoah because it's only Midl Sleifa. The Chiev Sleifa is just because it is also Bahanoah. So the Dimyan, the common denominator between Isora Hanoah and Esrofen and Kodshim is l'chayr questionable. One could argue by Kodshim, it's reasonable to say because the essence of this Hanoah is only because it's Oymid La'avoida. But it's the other way around. So, but it's Toises. So we need to say, to understand Toises, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The common denominator between Isora Hanoah and Kodshim is that these two factors, the Issa Noah and the mitzvah to destroy, is Haba Hatali, two sides of the same coin. By Kodshim it's also Noah because we need to do the mitzvah. By Issa Noah we do the mitzvah because it's also Noah. But the fundamental reasoning is the same. If the Torah says you need to burn Isura Noah, then it's logical to assume that after you burn it, it's no longer a Noah. If it stays also Noah, so what's the point in burning? If you perform the mitzvah and you burn Isra Noah, then there is no longer an Issa. That is the way to understand Toises. According to this understanding, we also understand the Chaim. At least it needs to be similar to Kodshim in some basic rule. But if the entire mitzvah, Ashbasose B'Kol Dover, is just about the Gavra, then we wouldn't say Ein Achlush Nasos. That's Reb Chaim Brisker. Is Reb Chaim saying the same as the Minchas Chinuch? Is Reb Chaim saying, Lamanda Omar Ein Be'chometz El Sleifa, it is about Sleifas Chometz, that is the mitzvah. Lamanda Mashbosose B'Kol Dover, just about not having chametz, and that is why not shaykh to say ein l'chadov shenas v'soso miyalaboy. Maybe l'chayr Reb Chaim leman de'omash v'soso b'chal davar is similar to the Minchas Chinuch in the tzad that it is about the result. The mitzvah is not destroying chametz. The mitzvah is not having chametz. So the Ramban, Reb Chaim Brisker, number 3, Noide Biur, Noide Biur M'socham Daf, Noide Biur, Kamo, Orach Chaim Simet Lesvav, is Miyasha B'Kash of the Pnei Yeshua, M'sochim Daf Hei. So M'socham Daf Hei, Rashi says, according to the Mandomash, B'sosa B'chal Davar, you could feed that chametz to dogs or other animals lifnei zmani suroi, and you're mekayim the mitzvah of tashbisu. When Rashi says chametz, if you find chametz and it's yom tev, so you have an option feeding it to a dog, shemizoinoso or lecha, because if the animals are yours, you could feed them on yom tev. That's the Gemara and Beitza. So if you have dogs and you moitza chametz bebeisoi, and he has a mitzvah b'chametz, so the Gemara says koifol of kli. Rashi says imash b'sosa b'chol dover, he could feed it to an animal. And the Pnei Yeshua asks, "Lachor it's a stira Rashi and Beitza chov zayin, and Beitza chov zayin ain't sorfen kodshim b'yom tev." Rashi says, "Ain't sorfen kodshim b'yom tev." Neither could you feed kodshim to an animal because achshe ve'rachmona lahavarosoi. I think some time ago we spoke about Rashi, and I told you my understanding in Rashi, which is different than many other Achronim, but we won't go back to that. So the Pnei Yeshua asks, Lagabe Seifes Kochim, Rashi says you can't feed Kochim and Yom Tov to an animal, and that is an Isra of Ein Sof and Kochim Yom Tov. So why does Rashi by Biur Chametz say you could feed Chametz to an animal? So the Noida Biur says, it depends. It depends. If the mitzvah is Sreifa, Achshe v'Rachmon Alavarosai, because the mitzvah is Etzem Sreifa. But if it's Hashbesosa B'chal Davor, then it's all about not having chametz, so that would not be achshe v'rachmon alavarosoi. So, in chronological order, Ramban, Noida Biur, Reb Chaim Brisker are they all on the same page of the Minchas Chinuch? And I think no. And there's a fundamental difference. The way the Minchas Chinuch presents his chakira is a person mekayem mitzvahs tashbisu by the mere fact that he doesn't have chametz. And that is why if he doesn't have chametz out of Pesach, there's no point in buying and burning, buying and destroying. It's all the same, because the mitzvah is only not having. So why do you need to buy and destroy? You're mekayem the mitzvah just the same if you don't have chametz. And that is also why there would be no asoras of mechoit mitzvah, because what are you complaining? He burned your chametz, but the mitzvah is yours because you don't have chametz. And to me, that is impossible. The Torah says tashbisu. Tashbisu means destroy, be mevatel, but it is a kum v'asei. If the Torah says you need to do something, how would we say you're mekayem a mitzvah by doing nothing? To me, that cannot be. The Minchas Chinuch says, is Tashbisu similar to Shvisa and Shabbos and Yom Tov? How could it be similar? The Shabbos and Yom Tov, the Torah says Tishbois. Here, the Torah says Tashbis. So besides the fact that they both have a Shin and a Vav and a Tov, it's a different world. It's a different word with a totally different understanding. Lahashbis is to destroy, or to be mevatel. But it is a positive deed that the Torah demands from you to do. Tashbit. When the Torah says Shabbos Yom Tov Tishvot, it means rest. So, Lishvot is Shevel Taisa. Lahashbit is Kum V'asei. So I don't think it's possible to say that a person is Makayim Mitzvahs Tashbisu when he doesn't do anything. If you didn't do anything, you weren't mashbis. If you weren't mashbis, why would you expect to have a mitzvah? And therefore, to me, it's a miltzah the pshita that if a person doesn't have chometz out of Pesach, he's not makayim the mitzvah. On the other hand, I don't think there's an inyan to buy in order to destroy. That doesn't make sense. But it's not because he has a mitzvah even if he doesn't buy. It's just because this is not the type of mitzvahs that people need to look for. Not every mitzvah. When the Pasuk says a mishlei chacham leiv yikech mitzvahs, it means you need to have some level of chachma to know which are the mitzvahs a person has to pursue and which is the ones that you don't have to pursue. But to say that a person didn't have chametz in the first place and he's makayim a mitzvah, how could that be? The Torah says tashbisu. Was he mashbis or was he not mashbis? So how about the Ramban? One of the most common svaros I deal with in my shiur, not because I plan it that way, but it comes back to me again and again, and probably I spoke about this more than once in our kollel as well, is the basic definition of two different categories of mitzvahs. There are many categories, but maybe the most fundamental chiluk between some mitzvahs and others are, there are many different ways to present this for mitzvah shebegavra, mitzvah shebechefza, but many times they explain. There are many mitzvahs in which the essence of the mitzvah is esem asiyas advorim, mishum sheyesh bem avodas ukeil. There are many other mitzvahs in which the essence of the mitzvah is the result, the outcome, and not the etzemais. So this yesod is so fundamental, but maybe some of you did not hear it from me, so I'll just briefly explain it again. All the mitzvahs of Seder Hayom, Shabbos, and Moed are mitzvahs of avodas ukeil. Kriyas Shema in Tefillah, Tefillin v'tzitzis, Mea brochas b'kol yom, Kiddush v'avdora, Matzah v'mora, Sukkah v'lulav. And many times they explain, Seder Hayom, Shabbos, and Moed are the essence of avodas ukeil. And it's so logical. We come to this world to serve HaKadosh Baruch. So the Seder Hayom, all these mitzvahs that are incumbent upon us, that is the essence of avodas ukeil. Many other mitzvahs that have nothing to do with Seder Hayom, Shabbos, and Moed are all about the result. And to me, it's so cut down the middle, it's so clear. Avodas ukeil are only Seder Yom, Shabbos, and Moed. All the others are about the result. But the most striking examples are Asiyas HaMaika. Is there avodas ukeil getting up on your roof in a sweatshirt, sweating away and building a maika? That's not avodas ukeil. It is all about pen yipol hanoifel, v'lo yisosem domim b'veisecha. Now, is a maika not avodas ukeil? Of course it is. You know, I like words. There are mitzvahs shem avodas ukeil mepnei she'HaKadosh Baruch Hu tzivah behem. There are other mitzvahs she'HaKadosh Baruch Hu tzivah behem mishum shehem avodas ukeil. You understand the difference? I can't say it that well in English. Some mitzvahs are avodas Hashem because HaKadosh Baruch Hu demanded them. So if HaKadosh Baruch Hu says v'asiso ma'akal ha'gagach, when you're machavan Hashem shamayim, you could properly say a brocha asher kedushonu b'mitzvosav v'tzivonu. Why? Because this is what the Torah says, and this is what I'm doing. So it is avodas Hashem, but it's only avodas Hashem because the Torah demands it. But the reason HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to be mekabel al malchus shamayim is because the kabbalah al malchus shamayim into itself is avodas ukeil, and that is why HaKadosh Baruch Hu demands it. So there are two different type of mitzvahs. Some mitzvahs which etzem asiyas advorim is all, it's what it's all about. There is no result. Other mitzvahs that are only to bring about a certain result, a certain outcome. You need to have a mic on your roof, chas v'sholem, nobody should get hurt and nobody should fall. A more striking example is, it's a mitzvah to say, to kill people. Yes, when a person is chayav mitzvah's based, it's a mitzvah to say. So I always tell the story about somebody I knew. I really didn't know him, but the story as I tell it. There's a shliach beis, his job is, he's an executioner. For the past 10 years, he's been killing people. Srifa, skila, sreifa, herek, chenek. And for the past 2 weeks, nothing doing. He comes and he says Tillim all day. You know, he sits in his office and he finishes Tillim every day. Nothing to do. And he's sad. Tells his wife, I haven't performed the mitzvah for 2 weeks. One Monday morning he comes and on the door of his office there's a list. 1 skila, 2 sreifa, 1 chenek, 3 hereg. Calls his wife, you won't believe it. 7 people, 7 mitzvahs today. He's so happy. If I would be in charge, I would fire him without any social benefits. Mishugana. What are you happy about? He says, why not? So the Rambam writes in the end of Hilchas Lulav, Hasimcha sheyis machodem b'siyas hamitzvahs avoda gedoyle. V'kol hamaneh atzmo misimcha zu ra'ui lipora mimenu. Mishugana. It depends which mitzvah. The Rambam writes it in Hilchas Lulav. When it comes to Lulav, to Sukkot, to Matzah, of course you need to be Mekayim Mitzvah B'Simcha. But this is not a mitzvah you need to be Mekayim B'Simcha. This is a mitzvah you need to be Mekayim with a leiv shover v'rotzatz, with a broken heart. So not all the mitzvahs are the same. Uviata Romikarbecho is, it's about the result. It's not because we like to kill people, but we like to eat matzah, and we like to sit in the sukkah, and we have a simchi yasera, v'samachto lefnei Hashem Elokecha with your lulav. So, what I wrote in various different simonim and misfor, it's not only two categories, there's a middle category as well. And there are mitzvahs which have an outcome, have a result, and the result is important. But the Maisa is just as important. V'yesh avodas Hashem b'Maisa. The most fundamental example is Milas Haben. Milas Haben. So it is about Ois Kodesh. It is about the result. The Beis Halevi argues it's all about the result. And I say, could you ignore the avodas ukel that is be'etzem Maisa Hamila? When a father and a mother have a newborn child, and they wound its flesh, and the baby cries, and they do it with simcha, ki olech oragno kol hayoyim, and Chazal say in Medrash and Lechlachot, ki kohen gadol ha'makrav korban gab ha'mizbeach, v'birkei hasandik are like a mizbeach. So of course it's avodas ukel. So it's a combination of the Maisa and the Teitzah. So there is something in the middle. So the way I understand it, the Ramban and Reb Chaim and the Noida B'Yehuda, all three of them, of course, they would be amazed if we would say, a person is Mekayim Tishbisu without doing anything. How could a person be Mekayim Tishbisu without doing anything? If he never had Chametz, he wasn't Mashbas Chametz. The Torah says Tishbisu. But the Shaila is, to which category of the three does Tishbisu fit in? So obviously it's not like Kriya Shemayim Tefillah. It's not like matzah and maror. Because of course Tashbisu has to do with Bal Yarov and Bal Yamotzer. It has to do with not having chametz. But we could still think, does it belong to the middle category or to the third category? Is it all about the result? Or it's not all about the result. There is also some chashivas in the deed, in the act. That is the question Reb Chaim deals with, and the Noida B'Yehuda and the Ramban. So, Reb Chaim says, if im ein bi'achometz ela sreifa, then obviously there's an importance be'etzem biur. Otherwise, why would the Torah care whether it's this or that? If it's all about the result, is there an afkamina how you build a maikah? How? What material? What methodology? There it is. Share maikah. So maybe a chometz ela sreifa, and we learn it from Noisar. So we learn it from Sreifas Kodshim. Then there must be some importance in the etzem Maisa Biur. But if imash besosa bechal davar, it's like Micah. It's all about the result and nothing about the Maisa. So Reb Chaim says, imash besosa bechal davar, we can't say ein achodavar shenas mitzosa mi'anam, but it never would occur to Reb Chaim that you're Mekayim mitzvah without doing anything. How could you be Mekayim mitzvah tashbis without doing anything when the Torah says, destroy your chametz? I didn't destroy any chametz. And that is the same sort of the Noida B'Yehuda says. So the Noida B'Yehuda says, Yimash b'sosa b'chol dovar, it's not shaykh to say, achshe ve'rachmona la'avarosai, because the etzem Maisa Biur doesn't have any chashivas into itself. Without the Maisa, you're not Mekayim mitzvah, but that's just a technicality. But there is no chashivas be'etzem asreif, and therefore it's not shaykh to say achshe ve'rachmona la'avarosai. And that is the Ramban also. So the way I understand the Ramban, if tashbisu there's chashivas in the etzem ha'ashbosa, then our understanding would be ach beyoy marishin tashbisu the ma'isa ha'ashbosa must be be'idnei bizman mitzvosoi. But if the ma'isa is only needed to achieve the result, it wouldn't be a pela at all to be mefarish, to assume that you need to do the ma'isa before zman asiroi to have the result bizman isur. And that is the way the Ramban is miyashiv shittas Rashi. So to me, there is no such a thing that a person is makayim tishbisu with doing nothing. So probably there would be a din of choytev mitzvah, because we find choytev mitzvah by milah, we find choytev mitzvah by kisui adam, and probably kisui adam is also about the result. Lo kedivrei hamichas chinuch, even after all, it's a mitzvah, and you took away my mitzvah, pay for it. Person gets schar mitzvah. Even for mitzvahs that are all about the result, he gets schar mitzvah, and you took it away from me. I'm not getting schar mitzvah. So, bein laman do mashvasos b'chol davar, bein laman do amar sleifa. Of course, there is a sort of zovim. And bein kach or bein kach, person never had chumetz, he's not makayim the mitzvah. But on the other hand, I don't think there is an inyan to buy chumetz in order to destroy it. If the essence of the mitzvah is in the Teitzorah, so according to Reb Chaim, the man doma and Biur chometz eres leifa, there's an Indian to buy to burn. But that's only according to Reb Chaim. I would say even a man doma and Biur chometz eres leifa, it's not behechrayach that there's avodas elokim in the leifa. Maybe the Torah demands leifa because leifa, after all, is the most effective mean of destroying chometz. I don't know, but what I say is legamre shelo kediva mechas chinuch, and the other three, the Noida Biur, the Reb Chaim, and the Ramban, it's not the same the mechas chinuch at all. So the Chazon Ish Sof Hilchas Negoim, that's an amazing Chazon Ish. The Chazon Ish writes, it's a midas chasidus to buy chometz. If somebody doesn't have chometz, the mitzvah is to buy, to destroy, which to me is a big chiddush. But maybe it's not such a big chiddush, because after all, he's makayim a mitzvah. After all, he's makayim a mitzvah. So definitely it wouldn't be a chiyuv. But midas chasidus, maybe yes. If not for the Chazon Ish, I don't know. I'm not sure it's a midas chasidus at all. So, was it our last year we spoke about missing a brocha and being mashlam another brocha? Yeah, was that the last year we gave b'dikas chometz lefnei leil yudalet? So would it be a midas chasidus buy chometz to burn? You're wasting so much time to buy chometz and then burn chometz. Say a perek Tehillim. You could learn a daf gemara in that time, and the Gro says you learn a daf gemara, you have 300 mitzvahs, you have 400 mitzvahs. Why would you waste your time buying chometz and burning chometz if it's only because they're having another mitzvah? I mean, you could have so many mitzvahs, and the time it'll take to go to a store to buy chometz and then to burn chometz. And so, if the mitzvah is all about the result, I don't think it would be mitzvah chasidus. But I do understand the Chazon Ish. The Chazon Ish says, we're not going into the cheshbon what else you could do. Yes, maybe you could utilize this time better in other ways, but it's still a mitzvah chasidus to any mitzvah you initiate and perform is a mitzvah chasidus. But it is clear to the Chazon Ish that there is no mitzvah, regardless whether we say in Biur chometz eres leifa or as v'sosa b'chol davar. If you don't have chometz, then you don't have chometz. So what would be the inyan to buy chometz? To sell.
If someone had chometz before his man Yisr, would it be mitzvah chasidus or chiyuv to wait till his man Biur?
No, same.
Even
Same.
if it's also b'shev.
Yeah. Maybe toch 30 yom. If we say Shon HaDoshim B'Hilchsag 30 yom Lifnei Chag, maybe there would be an inyan.
You're sure you bring the vinegar of the Riva that he held on to a piece of
right, till the last minute to be makayim the mitzvah.
Marik says he's wrong and it's not shaykh chaviv mitzvah b'shaita. And he says what some people think means al derech the minchas chinuch. He says, "But the l'chash pasuk gadol b'zu." The kavanas haTorah is shnat tefam.
It's not the minchas chinuch. It's what I say. After all, when the essence of a mitzvah is the teitzorah, even though it is a mitzvah, and the teitzorah we have, to me this verse seems so simple. So I disagree with the minchas chinuch on both counts drastically. On one hand, I say, Lo yala l'das is makayim tashbisu if he didn't do anything. On the other hand, gam l'madu ein b'chometz eres leifa, what's the point Why would there be a chiyuv to buy just to destroy? Because the essence of the mitzvah is definitely the teitzah. And if you have the teitzah, what would be the point? You know, it's the same as a person buying a house. Does he have a mitzvah or even a mitzvah chasidus? Breaking down the mic and building it anew. Same. He has a mic. Was he Mekayim mitzvah's mic? Of course not. Kiyum mitzvah. The Torah says, "V'osiso maka legegehu." He didn't do the mic. So would he have a mitzvah of destroying the mic in order to build it? What's the point? You had a mic. You're out of your mind. Why break it down and build it back? And I don't think that'll be a mitzvah chasidus. So there is an inyan that a person, I don't know, you know, when people ask me many times, is there an inyan? I say, I don't know how to define an inyan. So my daughters tell me, you know, once a Bishur Neuvet, Shmir Shabbos Kechosa, I go on at Tzaddik, it was such an honor. And he was a teacher of Hilchos Shabbos in Beis Yankov, in the seminary, and all my daughters learned by him. And obviously he had a sense of humor, so sometimes the girl asked a question, and he said, Ad midaberet le'inyan, avani lo yedei le'eze inyan. So, I don't know, it's hard to define an inyan. When some people ask me, is there an inyan? But I don't see any mitzvah chasidus if you bought a house and it has a maikah to destroy the maikah just to build it back. What's the point? And it's the same. I don't have any chametz, so why buy chametz to burn chametz? Definitely isn't a chiyuv. I don't even think it's a mitzvah chasidus. So there is an inyan. Yeah, that's why I spoke about inyan. There is somewhat of an inyan. A person should be makayim every mitzvah at least once in his lifetime. I don't know where the source is, but I do think some Sifrei Kabbalah say that there is an inyan once in a lifetime to do a mitzvah. And none of us really builds a mic because, yeah, I don't know where the source of this idea is. If you find, please let me know, because, you know, it's an important thing.
There's a Ben Ish Chai that says that by Hilchos Challah you should try to do it once a year.
Once a year?
Yeah, so you ask your wife permission and you should do it once a year.
Yeah. Interesting. And does he bring an earlier source? No. I think it's chibuv mitzvah. There is somewhat of a chavivus in chibuv mitzvah. So lagabe maikeh, I still think break down a maikeh to build one, but maybe, you know, at least dismantle part of it, build it back. So, but that is only because of an inyan of kiyum mitzvah once in your lifetime. But basically, there is no such mitzvah chasidus.
And if there's an opportunity to be the executioner, should you also jump at that?
No. No. That is a mitzvah mutelas al tzibur. Mitzvahs mutelas al tzibur have different rules. Mike is a mitzvah mutelas al yochid. Mitzvahs mutelas al tzibur are different. Like I like your question.
We do see the minhag of the 10 pieces of chametz that we put away, the biggest chametz that we definitely want to be soyer.
What?
According to this, the minhag of hiding the 10 pieces of chametz,
Yeah.
the biggest chametz. I mean, is any makom for it?
Didn't we speak about this minhag in a previous opportunity? I definitely think there's a big inyan because the inyan is twofold. Some argue that we clean the house so thoroughly and we know there's no chametz, maybe it's a bracha levatala. I don't think so, because the mitzvah b'dikas chametz is not about finding; it is about looking for. So if there is a chiyuv b'dika, then, but others would argue when you know there is no chametz, there no longer is a chiyuv b'dika. We spoke about this at length. But I think in reality, the meaning of hiding 10 pieces is just to make sure that he's really looking for it. Because otherwise people, especially at a certain age when you have difficulty bending down, people might just go through like a routine. It would be like chasing away Eina Bisha from your house, going around with a candle to to reject all the shadim and ruchos rois. So if we hide 10 crumbs, then at least he doesn't want to be embarrassed, have his children hiding 10 crumbs, and then say, Abba, lo matzata filu achad. You didn't even find one, but I don't really get the either. So that is probably the more greater reason of the meaning of hiding crumbs.
Today everyone might save some chametz to make sure to dig and they save for the
Yeah.
So some different farm bring hakpadas. Don't pour lighter fluid on it. Make sure it's in your rishus. Kol many finally can mafkir mitzvahs tashbisu by getting it out of your rishus or destroying the chametz without the sreifa.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because if I have chametz, then I have the mitzvah of biur chametz. Why forfeit it? Why forego it? So yeah, I think that makes sense. And that is a source in very early poskim, not to do the bittul, not to be mevatel the chametz that you intend to burn. I mean, that's in the Rishonim already, or at least in the major poskim that say, when you're mevatel chametz, you need to have kavanah not to be mevatel the chametz you intend to burn tomorrow, because then you no longer have a mitzvah of biur chametz. You still would have a mitzvah d'Rabbanan, but it wouldn't be a mitzvah d'Orais.
If a person, by mistake, was mevatel all his chametz, even when he did it on the bedika at night, and now he has no chametz by the day, is there a reason to be rezoiching the chametz? I mean, he can go buy new chametz, or he can be...
No, because that once again brings us back right here and now you don't have chametz. Right here and now you don't have chametz. But according to the Chazon Ish, you don't need to go out of your way. It's here, so you could be zoicha and then burn your own chametz. So according to the Chazon Ish, it makes sense. I argued against the Chazon Ish, why waste so much time? But in our case, you're not wasting time at all, because you need to burn the chametz anyway, even if you were mevatel. It's a derabbanan that you need to burn your chametz. So we might as well just be zoicha and mekayim mitzvah gemura. So when I came to give the shir today, I was convinced that it's a lumdus shir that has no halachic really implications, but from the last 5 minutes all these shilas came up, and we see it does have some halachic implications, some halachic nafkeminas. So oy de rega adabero. So the Magen Avraham is involved regarding a moitze chometz bebeisoy b'yomtiv and koifol of kli. So the Magen Avraham asks, why not mefarer v'zoyre leruach al yidei goy? It's a shvus to shvus b'mokam mitzvah. Bring a goy mefarer v'zoyre leruach. We don't have any reshus aram diuraisa. Mefarer pas is not a toichen diuraisa. Tchina achat tchina, and it's a mirer lenochri. It's 3 shivusim. Why not? Why koifol of kli if we could do it immediately? And Rabbi Akiva Eiger wonders, ain't shlichus lagoy, you're mevatel the mitzvah. So why be mevatel the mitzvah of tashbisu? Preferable wait till chalamoid and you're mekayim the mitzvah on your own. So brings us back to our basic discussion. Is there a kpeid of bitul mitzvah sasei? If it's all about the result, you say the mitzvah. If it's all about the result, maybe you're mekayim the mitzvah afilu al yedei goy. You probably remember the Machna Ephraim Shluch in Yud Aleph. The Machna Ephraim says building a maikah. You could make a bracha when your goyish workers build a maikah, because a mitzvah that is all about the result, you don't even need shlichus. And the Machna Ephraim basis is ruling on the Pri Chodosh, Siman Kuf Chof in Yeridei, Tvilas Kelem. You make the bracha, and the goy is still the Kelem. And the Magen Avraham, when a woman was already Mekabel Shabbos, on her way to the mikveh, she could be madlik neir Shabbos alidei goy, and she would make the bracha. So we see from these 3 sources, when a mitzvah is all about the result, you don't even need shlichus.
Why is that all about? Why is near Shabbos all about the result? Wouldn't it be part of
Kvod Shabbos, Oynik Shabbos,
Kvod Shabbos. Sure, I'm about the person.
Not about
That's
the
where the Gemara
Ma'aseh.
says mitzvah b'yosem b'shluchai. There's an inyan dafka to do by yourself. If it's
Yes.
Kvod Shabbos, that's what the Gemara.
That's a very good question. But we're not dealing with Lukas Ner Shabbos. I think it's a taina against the Magen Avraham, because I think by Ner Shabbos, I think it's the middle category. that I said before. I think there's a gewaltige Cheshivas in the Etzem Maisa Hadlaka. There's a Cheshivas in the Etzem Maisa Hadlaka, which is a manifestation of Kvod Shabbos b'Maisa Hadlaka. It's not only... but I just want to bring examples. When a mitzvah is about the result, you don't need shlichus. So that would be, I might even say Mogen Avraham L'Shitosai from Ner Shabbos. So the Mogen Avraham says, even if I have a goy that's doing Mefara V'Zoyder Ruach, I mekayim the mitzvah. So maybe the Mogen Avraham L'Shitosai. So Rebbe Kiva Eger and his great son-in-law, the Samsoifim Sochem Davav, say, why is it better to wait and not do it on the day? Because if you're mekayim the mitzvah after Yom Tov, then it's a lav and itik la'aseh, and you're metaken lemafreya the lav. So that would be preferable. In my opinion, lav and itik la'aseh, you're not metaken lemafreya. There's no such a thing as metaken lemafreya. Nav and itik la'aseh is only a din like Abba Malkus. If the Torah gives a mitzvah to say, that means there is no malchus, but it's not because lemafreya. You're over alive, you're over alive. And the only way to rectify that is by doing tshuva. But if you have an itek laseh, there is no malchus. So that would not be a reason to prefer waiting till after Yom Tov and to burn. But maybe it's kedai to wait after Yom Tov just to be mekayim a mitzvah. If you do it ali der you don't have a mitzvah, and that was a bekiveges kasha. But the way I would be miyashiv the Mogen Avraham is, you have a mitzvah even if a goy doesn't, because you're the one that called him, you're the one that gave him the chametz, you're the one that asked him to do it. Just like Siyas Hamaket, Tfilas Kelim, Ner Shabbos according to the Mogen Avraham. So almost everything I said is based on the assumption that Biur Chametz is about the result. L'dati, even if we do say Sreifa, it's about the result. And that is the way I understand all these Achroinim and Rishonim, lo kedivei minchas chinuch. But without doing anything, you're definitely not mekayim the mitzvah. So in Minchas Social Psochim, there are a few Choshel Simonim about Tashbisu. One is a person mekayim the mitzvah when he sells chametz to a goy? Is that Tashbisu? Especially according to Rashi, that bitul is Tashbisu, would Mechir el Anachri also be a mitzvah of Tashbisu? That is one interesting discussion. And there are some other interesting shaylas about Tashbisu. If a person has a kazayas chametz and he burned half of that kazayas, was he mekayim the mitzvah of Tashbisu? Would that be similar to Bava Kama, Kuf Gimel, or to Shabbos Tzaddik Aleph? There are different sugyas in Shas. So we think it's kedai to have a look at some other shaylas. I wrote about this.
Sometimes children want to throw in the challah to the fire.
Yeah.
So it's not a bit of mitzvah medrosa. Some sort say Gadol should do it. He's losing his mitzvah. He gives it to a katan.
But you were the I mean, your son is going to do it all?
What?
Your son is
I
going to
guess
do it
that's
all?
the question.
He throws the whole bag at
Okay.
First of all, maybe it's chinuch. You're mechaneching children. So one would say, if the chinuch needs to be b'kol proteo v'digdukeo, it's not his chametz. So I need to be makna to him the chametz as he is, and then he's mekayim the mitzvah of tashbis. Yeah, so the question of, it brings us back to the entire discussion we had today. So, in Beit Zedav Zayin, it is clear that the shir of Bal Yirah Bal Yamotz is a kazayis. Tashbisu as well. So if you burn a kazayis, you could have your children burn all the rest. It definitely is not a bitul mitzvah. You are mekayim a mitzvah.